Over the past 50 years, Europa Park in Germany has grown to become one of the biggest, best and most loved theme parks anywhere in the world, featuring a very impressive amount of attractions, from huge roller coasters to family dark rides, major water rides and everything else in between. Europa Park really does have it all on one of the best lineups of rides anywhere out there in the world. Of course, it's a family-owned park by the Mack family that also own Mack Rides as well. So that has meant over the years they've been able to work with Mack Rides, their own manufacturer, and build some prototype attractions at the park itself. The factory is located only about 40 minutes away from Europa Park, and that for me keeps it really special. When you are visiting here, you can tell that this isn't owned by some big corporation. It's a family park. The family live at the park, and of course it's just got that whole feel about it that I absolutely love. Of course, the lineup at Europa Park is one of the best anywhere out there, and it has been very hard to count down just 10 of my favourite rides here. And of course, I'm sure this list will very much vary to many of you watching this as well. So I would love for you all to comment with your favourite 10 rides at Europa Park and see how the list compares to mine, because I'm sure it will be very different to my list here. Here we go, we've got lots to talk about in this video, so let's count down the top 10 rides at Europa Park in Germany. In 10th place, we're starting off with a water ride, and it is Atlantica Super Splash. This is a Mack Rides Super Splash that's been operating since 2005. Of course, you're going to see a lot of Mack Rides in this list, but not everything has been built by their own manufacturer, as you'll see later on in the list. There's some other major manufacturers out there as well. So what makes this ride is the fact it's beautifully themed. It looks amazing in the Portuguese themed area. You've got this castle structure off to the side, and then of course that's the station. You come out of it up the lift hill, you got a turntable where you spin round, get some great views, a backwards drop, and then another turntable that spins you round facing forwards, and then you drop down a 98-foot drop. So yeah, it's a big one. Like, it's brilliant as you drop down there. Pretty steep as well, but also the views that you get looking out over the park are absolutely fantastic. You got a little airtime hill, and then you splash down as well. What makes this ride is the fact that it's not an absolute mega soaker, but it's just good fun. It's beautifully themed. They actually paint the bottom of it every year as well to keep it looking nice and fresh, and just overall it is a good fun ride, so definitely had to be in this list. In 9th place, we've got another water ride, and this is another Mack Rides water coaster. Different variety there. Obviously, the first one's a Super Splash model, whereas with this, it's a standard water coaster model, like the 4 rows of 8 riders per train on this. And yeah, this opened back in year 2000. Now, with this ride, it's located in the Greek-themed area of Europa Park, and again, it's beautifully themed. The station building is just phenomenal inside and out. As soon as you come out of there, you've got all the theming, animatronics at the side. You've got a shipwreck scene. And then you head up the first lift hill into the coaster section, which is great fun. You got a nice bend drop into the big lake that they've got just there as well. Again, they paint it every year to keep it looking nice and fresh. You then meander around, you got some little water effects, some interaction with the other boats, and then up another lift hill before dropping down again through a tunnel and into an airtime hill, which is brilliant. I love that. It's a good fun ride. I also love as well that it's not the smoothest at points. It feels a little bit intense, and I really like that actually. I think that makes it a bit more edgy as you're going around on the attraction. But yeah, the splashdown at the end is great. You can get quite wet on there, but it's just a good, fun water coaster. And yeah, Poseidon, in my opinion, is well worthy of being in this list. Right then, on to our first non-water coaster now. In 8th place, it is a classic. Unfortunately, it's going to be going away in the near future. It is Euromir. This is a Mack Ride spinning coaster that's been operating since 1997. What I love about this ride is the look of it. It's located in the Russia-themed area, and the building itself has got all this beautiful glass. That is an amazing structure to look at. At Christmas, they hang all icicle lights off it, which looks great. And then as soon as you enter into the station, yes, it feels a bit kind of old school inside the building, but I love that. It's one of the only rides left now at Europa Park that hasn't been touched in the past kind of, 10, 15 years. They've been going around refurbishing the park. It just stayed as it is. The soundtrack, the lighting, it's like a dodgy nightclub in there when you go into the queue line, all the UV artwork and everything. And then of course you've got the spiral lift hill. as you're making your way up. You're on that lift hill for a few minutes, the doors open at the top, and then you meander around just on these flat sections of track, but the views are great. You can wave at your friends in the big mirrors, windows that they've got around the side, and then of course you drop down. It gets very intense. It's a controlled spin on here. It's not free spinning, it's controlled, but right near the end, if you spin round, say you're backwards for the final part of the ride, it is ridiculously intense. I know it's not the smoothest, but I do love Euromir. I am sad that it's going to be going away. If you want to ride this and you've never done it before, or if you've done it and love it just as much as me, then yeah, get yourself to the park. You know, it could end up closing later this year for all we know. So there's no official confirmation on when it will close yet, but it does sound like the new ride could open in possibly 2028. So that would mean it's going to close maybe later this year. So if you want to ride Euromir, get yourself on there. Right then, down into 7th place then now. It's another Euro. This one had a refurbishment, and this is Eurosat, a Can-Can coaster located in the French themed area of the park. Now this was an older coaster originally, and the coaster itself I feel like probably used to be better back then, but the theming package that came in 2018 of this fully enclosed coaster from Mack Rides is excellent. It's a custom sit down coaster. Again, you've got a spiral lift hill all the way to the top. It feels like you get up there a bit quicker than you used to. I think they sped it up when they refurbished it in 2018. But then this ride is just so fun. It's got onboard sound as well to the Can-Can music. You're coming down, looking at all the theming. I know when it first opened, there wasn't really loads to look at like there is now, but the theming wasn't as well detailed, so they updated the painting on there. But it's so good now. I love the soundtrack. Lighting's really cool. You go through like the Moulin Rouge windmill, or the red lighting in there, which is really cool. The Can-Can at the end, you know, and it's just great. Like, it's a good fun ride. It's very smooth, maybe a little bit too smooth now compared to the old one. There's actually a sound effect on one of the mid-course brake runs that they added in just so it had a bit of a squeak to it, just so it actually sounded a bit more old school, which I absolutely love. I think that came from Roland Mack, the owner of the park. But yeah, love that. But yeah, Can-Can coaster looks the part. It rides amazing as well. It's smooth, it's lap bars, it's enjoyable, but also it's got a few intense sections, but nothing too much either. But yeah, I did prefer the original Eurosat coaster, but I think the theming and overall package of this is a lot better than it was originally. And anybody remember the old robot that was like, act on, act on? That's a bad impression, isn't it? But yeah, that robot is actually up there in the queue on the left hand side. He's got a bit of a cover over him, and yeah, you can spot him just there. Right then, down into 6th place now, and this is part dark ride, part coaster. It's Arthur in the Kingdom of the Minimoys. I love this. It's a Mack Rides inverted powered coaster that opened back in 2014. So what I love about this is the ride system. It was a prototype from Mack Rides as well. The fact you've got a row of 4 seats, so literally you've got audio coming around, you've got lighting fastened on, you're just very immersed in it straight away, and it's a controlled spin as you're going around. It's not too fast, it can just kind of rotate and face into the scenes, which is excellent. Then of course, as you're going around the ride, there's theming, there's animatronics, there's audio, the smells, special effects. It actually goes outside on a couple of occasions, including right at the end. So my favourite part of the ride is the latter part, and I like it when your favourite part on a ride is like later on in the layout, because you can look forward to it throughout the rest of it. Some rides where you go on and the main event's at the start, you're like, oh, I've done the best bit now. But no, with Arthur, you know, it's got the best bits later on. You come out into this big grand hall, the Minimoys Kingdom itself, and you're flying over there, suspended, a big kind of turnaround. And then you actually head outside and over the River Owls that runs through the park. You actually go out over that, which I think is excellent. Arthur's a good fun family ride, part dark ride, part coaster. It doesn't go too fast as it's going round, but it doesn't need to. It's a show ride, it's an experience, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's a beautiful attraction, and yeah, it definitely deserves a place in 6th place here in my top 10 countdown. In 5th place, we've got a full-on dark ride now, and this is Piraten in Batavia, Pirates in Batavia in English, and this is located in the Dutch-themed area. And yeah, this is a Mack Rides free-flow boat ride, so standard kind of Pirates of the Caribbean-style ride system that opened in 2020. This was a rebuild, a complete rebuild of an original version of the ride by the same name that was sadly destroyed in a fire a couple of years prior. Straight away, the decision was made to rebuild the ride, but not identical as it was before. They updated it, they had a new storyline, and I tell you what, they did a really good job. There's so many amazing scenes in there. It's just got one drop near the start, you got like a lightning effect, but then you come straight out into these massive scenes. There's waterfalls, there's mist screens, full of animatronics. You've got this beautiful stilt village that you go through. The doors open into each of the scenes, which is great. You got your kind of classic kind of pirate battle scene as well. Then you go through another beautiful scene as well. It was just amazing as you're going through there with all the smells and lighting and animatronics. You've actually got a little hidden ride system in there. There's a Mack Rides rocking boat in there, which is a full track ride system that nobody can ever ride other than a little skeleton that just goes round. And it is really cool. I love how that's in there. And then of course, right at the end, you got some nice projection mapping and you come through the little restaurant as well. So it's an amazing ride. So much detail in there. There really is. There's stuff to look at high up, low down, all the way around. It is just an amazing and very immersive attraction. In fourth place then now, and it is Voltron. There we go. So this is a Mack Rides striker coaster that opened in 2024. Now, with Voltron, it's got so much packed into the ride, hasn't it? It's got the Beyond Vertical launch, the only one of them in the world, which is very impressive. Of course, it's got lap bars on there, which are great as well. The trains look gorgeous. The area looks spectacular. It's a Croatia-themed area that this is built in. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. And it's got 7 inversions packed in on there as well. My favourite of them is probably the stall. I do really enjoy that element on the ride. It's got a top speed of 62 miles per hour and there's just so much packed into it. Now for me, the layout of Voltron I do really enjoy. Apart from the turntable and spike area, for me it does kind of ruin the flow a little bit there. I wish it just, it was a booster launch there straight up into like an Immelman and then carried on with the layouts. Yes, it would have meant the ride would have been about 30 seconds shorter ride time wise, but the track length wouldn't have really been shorter at all. And I think that would have kept the flow a lot better than actually stopping. I know it's part of the storyline there, but even that, it's not very well executed in my opinion. It really could have done with an animatronic there, explaining what's going on, because you just come into a really sharp break, which can be a bit uncomfortable when you lunge forward, and then into the turntable, then the reverse spike and you're off again. And I know you're underneath another big Tesla tower, but nothing's really explained there about what's happening. So if that was an enclosed dark scene, I would have enjoyed that a lot more. The other thing that I want to talk about with Voltron is the fact that it has got some severe vibration and some seats. Now, it's a very impressive ride when you're in the right row. If you're on the front row, you're in for a brilliant experience. I love it. But then if you're on some of the other rows, especially row 3, I've found, you can get some quite severe vibration. I've come off with a headache sometimes. And yeah, the amount of shaking that does for a new coaster, in my opinion, isn't great. So that for me is why Voltron is further down the list. If you get a front row ride, again, it's a bit like Hyperia at Thorpe Park. It hasn't got a front row queue. But of course, at least at Hyperia, it's smooth and not uncomfortable. With Voltron, it's at the point where I almost don't want to ride it on some of the other rows, depending on the train. They said that they knew about it and they were fixing it. We were there not long ago, like at the end of the year, and there was still a couple of trains where it wasn't the best. So we'll see how it goes in the long term. But yeah, for me, Voltron, 4th place in this list, mainly because it's a brilliant ride in the right seat. But yeah, it can be a very inconsistent experience as well. Along with that then, we're into the final top 3 on this list. So we've got Bluefire. This is a Mack Rides launch coaster that opened in 2009. This is a special ride because it was Mack's first inverting ride. It was the first ride they built. We went upside down. So I think that's really special. And for me, the launch on there is actually one of the best Mack launches on any of their coasters. I think it's a brilliant launch on Bluefire. I love the theming and immersion. It's located in the Iceland themed area. So it really builds you up with all the little buildings and everything. It's a really nice little village. You've got the onboard kind of dark ride scene, which has got lots going on before the launch. And then the doors open and then you launch out. I love that whole kind of show element into the big overbank. And then, yeah, it's followed by 4 inversions from that point. The loop is excellent, but for me, is that final barrel roll. I absolutely love it. You're whipped out your seat. It's brilliant. Just having the lap bars on there as well. You got some really good near misses and tunnels as well. That's something that I wish Voltron had more of, like some scenery around the ride, rock work and tunnels. Doesn't have really anything like that down the back part of the layout, whereas Bluefire's got that consistently, and I really do like that. I think the near misses really add to it. And yeah, top speed of 62 miles an hour again on that one, 62. But no, brilliant ride, Bluefire. Prototype Mack launch coaster, and of course they've gone on to sell so many of them now, haven't they, around the world, and I can see why, because they are brilliant rides. Right then, into the final 2 then now. On the top 10 rides at Europa Park. In second place, it is Silver Star. This is a Bolidrome Mabillard, BMM, hypercoaster that's been operating since 2002. Now, with Silver Star, it's got a 219-foot drop, which is brilliant, but that isn't the highlight of the ride. Of course, it's good fun. You're on a hypercoaster, especially at the back. You get a bit of pull down on there. Much better drops out there on other coasters. What makes Silver Star is everything else after that. It's the other drops, it's the airtime, and actually the final part of the ride. You come out of the mid-course brake run to some severe ejector airtime, which is brilliant. You pop right out your seats, and then you got that twist and more airtime into the brake run. It's got one of the best endings to a coaster ever, in my opinion. It doesn't get talked about enough. I really think Silver Star is a great ride. It's packed full of airtime. Of course, there's better B&M hypers out there, but yeah, I do feel like in terms of the overall ride, it's just so much fun. Everyone's got their arms in the air, everyone's screaming, having a good time. The location's great. You can look out and see all the mountains. You can look back and see the park. It's just a brilliant ride, Silver Star. I do really enjoy it. And yes, it's the car park coaster. You know, it hasn't got much theming yet, but for this year, 26, they're actually adding some new theming around the ride. And I don't think we're going to see much out on the car park section, but the station building and that whole area is being themed to Monaco for this year. So we'll see what that's going to be like when all of that is done. But no, top speed of 78 miles an hour as well. I do love the speed on Silver Star. You can really feel that intensity, and it's just a really good, fun, brilliant coaster full of airtime as well, which is great. And my number one spot, the top ride, in my opinion, at Europa Park, the best coaster there, the best ride for me, is Wodan Timber Coaster. This is Great Coasters International wooden coaster. Of course, GCI, brilliant manufacturer from America. This ride opened in 2012, and it's 131 foot tall. It's actually the tallest GCI out there that was been built. And this has also got a top speed of 62 miles an hour. So yeah, quite interesting. Three of the big coasters have all got the same, or very similar top speed. I know some are a bit like 62.3 or whatever. But yeah, all like 62 are the top three coasters. Voltron, 62, Blue Fire, and also Wodan. This feels the fastest in my opinion, because literally you've got the tunnels, you've got the station fly through, you've got covered over sections. Yes, they have put a bit of Titan track on there, which I'm not a fan of. Hopefully we won't see any more of that added for this year, because it does take away a little bit from the ride experience. But even with that bit of Titan track that's on there now, in my opinion, it's still the best ride at Europa Park. I absolutely adore Wodan Timber Coaster. It's the height, it's the theme, it's the views. The queue line is amazing. Like that is the best queue for me in Europa Park, going through and just like all these little mine shafts and everything, all the diamonds sticking out the wall, all the fibre optics. That just builds you up so much for the ride, which I absolutely love. You got some fire effects in the queue line as well. GCI, nice lap bar restraints, padded seating, it's so comfortable, and it's the speed and exhilaration of that ride. And again, it's one of them that keeps getting better. The final kind of twists and turns on that ride are amazing. I absolutely love that, and that is why Wodan is my favourite ride at Europa Park. But there we go, that's my list. I'd be really interested to know how yours compares to mine, because I'm sure there'll be quite a few changes on there. But that's the thing, everybody has different opinions on rides and theme parks and what they enjoy the most. But for me, that is my top 10 favourite rides. It's been hard to do because there's a lot of other rides that I really enjoy there, whether it be other coasters, water rides, dark rides. It really is a full package park with so much to see and do. But no, that is my top 10 list. It took me a while to work this one out, but no, that is exactly how it is for me right now at Europa Park. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really does help up the channel. And of course, subscribe and turn the notification bell on to be notified when we upload brand new videos. We've got lots of exciting things coming up, so stay tuned for all of our upcoming content. Thank you very much for watching, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.